Today is Wednesday, November 8th. We'll bring you the key takeaways from the big statewide elections this week and what the results could mean for 2024. Also, American lawmakers punished a congresswoman who's been very vocal about the war in Gaza. We'll explain why. Plus, we're talking about growing interest in surgically implanted brain chips from Elon Musk, one noticeable change coming to every Walmart store, and how Gen Z seems to be shaking up the workplace for everyone. Those stories and even more news to know coming up. Welcome to The Newsworthy. All the day's news in around 10 minutes. Fast, fair, fun, and on the go. I'm Erica Mandy. Thanks so much for being here. You ready? Let's do this. Americans cast their votes, and in the end, Democrats saw a lot of success, especially on the issue of abortion. For example, voters in Ohio voted yes on a ballot measure that solidifies abortion rights into the state constitution. Also, in historically Republican Kentucky, Democratic Governor Andy Beshear easily won re-election. Abortion was a flashpoint in that race, too. In Virginia, Dems who ran on the abortion issue flipped control of their state House and kept control of the state Senate, even though Virginia's Republican governor has been heavily campaigning for the GOP. In another issue that's been popular among Dems, Ohio voters approved a ballot measure to legalize recreational marijuana for people 21 and older. And Rhode Island elected a Democrat to Congress who will be the first Black person to represent the state in the nation's capital. All that said, Republicans did score at least one big win. Mississippi's conservative governor won a second term, even though his challenger raised more money and did more campaigning. So what does this all mean for next year's national elections? Well, President Biden's team sees it as a good sign, with his campaign posting on social media to say the results show votes mean more than polls, and they're riding the momentum into 2024. And that's relevant since more and more polls are showing Biden trailing former President Trump in a potential matchup. But it's also worth noting Biden did not do much campaigning for a lot of this week's races. So some reports say a lot of Dems are worried Biden's agenda is actually more popular than the candidate himself, and he still faces a bumpy path toward re-election. But of course, there's another year before Americans vote for president again, and a lot can change between now and then. So stay tuned. The only Palestinian American in Congress has now been censured over her comments on the war in Gaza. The U.S. House voted to formally punish Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib last night. A censure is a rare, symbolic move where the member who has been censured is called to the House floor as the Speaker reads the text of the measure, though it doesn't remove her from Congress. The resolution accuses her of promoting false narratives and statements about the war online. She's also being criticized for a video she posted to social media, accusing President Biden of supporting genocide over his support of Israel. Not everyone agrees that there's genocide happening in Gaza, even in the face of widespread devastation and thousands of civilian deaths. Israel and its supporters say the war is meant to prevent genocide, since Hamas is open about wanting to kill Jews wherever it can. But Tlaib's post was even more controversial than that. The video also included footage of crowds chanting the phrase, "From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free." That brought on some bipartisan criticism, since the phrase is widely interpreted as a call to violence to destroy the state of Israel and kill its Jewish people. It's a phrase that's even been used by Hamas. Tlaib defended it, though, saying to her, the phrase is, quote, an aspirational call for freedom, human rights, and peaceful coexistence. And she refused to apologize for it. Then she broke down in tears on the House floor, talking about what's happening to the Palestinian people, saying, quote, Palestinians are not disposable. Ultimately, most Republicans voted to censure her along with 22 Democrats, though some lawmakers from both parties who voted against the censure said it's a matter of free speech no matter what the topic. Despite the vote, Tlaib says she will not be silenced. The federal prosecutor responsible for investigating Hunter Biden faced a grilling from Congress this week. Special counsel David Weiss defended his investigation, saying he has had full authority over the case and has not been influenced by the Biden or Trump administrations in any way. This is actually the first time a special counsel has been interviewed by Congress during a criminal investigation instead of afterward. So Weiss couldn't say much else. But he did explain how he makes decisions in the case, saying he follows facts, federal law, and Justice Department guidelines, and has never considered the politics of it all. Still, some Republican lawmakers say they found Weiss's testimony unconvincing, as they believe two IRS agents who accused the DOJ under President Biden of stalling the investigation. The GOP is also suspicious over a plea deal offered to Hunter Biden, even though that deal has since fallen apart. On the other side, some Democrats called the whole session a waste of time. Remember, Weiss has been overseeing the Hunter Biden case for 5 years, starting when former President Trump was in office, looking into tax and gun charges, as well as the president's son's foreign business dealings. Hunter Biden says he's mostly innocent. He does admit to being late with his federal taxes, but eventually paid off his debt in full. It's not clear how much longer the investigation is expected to last, but once it does wrap up, the special counsel will have to release a final report to the public. It really seems like there are two seasons happening in the U.S. this week, and neither one is autumn. Yeah, even though the calendar says fall, it's more like winter in the north and summer in the south. Let's start with the north. A storm is expected to bring snow to the northeast today and tomorrow, from upstate New York to Maine and everywhere in between, while another snow event happens in Colorado. Meanwhile, the South is dealing with record warmth for this time of year. Many places from the southern plains to the central and southern Appalachians could see record high temps as readings soar into the 80s from Arizona to Virginia. All right, we have more news for you still coming up. But first, thanks to our sponsor, Uncommon Goods. If you want to be that person who gives all your people a thoughtful and unique gift this holiday season, but without added stress, I have your secret weapon, Uncommon Goods. And even before Uncommon Goods became a sponsor, they were my go-to place to browse and buy when I did not already have a gift idea for someone. Uncommon Goods scours the globe for the most remarkable and truly unique gifts for everyone on your list. Whether your person is a coffee, wine, or book lover, a gardener or chef, a hiker, traveler, entertainer, or homebody, there is truly something for everyone and at gift-friendly price points, too. It's such an easy way to support artists and small independent businesses as well, which I love. My most recent purchase on Uncommon Goods is this beautiful, but also kind of fun and silly stoneware popcorn bowl with a kernel sifter to ensure that the next movie night is both stylish and toothache-free. How great of a gift is that for anyone who loves curling up on the couch with popcorn in a show? To get 15% off your next gift, go to uncommongoods.com/newsworthy. That's uncommongoods.com/newsworthy to get 15% off. Don't miss out on this limited time offer. Uncommon Goods, we're all out of the ordinary. Now back to the news. There could be more government oversight coming to digital wallets and payment apps. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau is pushing for a new regulation for non-bank companies that handle money. So think Apple, Google, PayPal, and Block. Really, the proposal would subject any company that processes more than 5 million financial transactions a year to the same rules as traditional banks and credit unions. The CFPB says this is all meant to protect customers against unfair, deceptive, or abusive practices that could fly under the radar unless it takes action. In response, one of the payment industry's largest trade groups said it actually supports the Bureau's idea, so long as the final rule also encourages more innovation and competition. The public can now comment on the proposal at least until January. Elon Musk's company Neuralink is ready to start brain surgery. We're talking about a procedure that requires removing part of a person's skull and replacing it with a computer that's about the size of a quarter with wires and electrodes that go right into the brain. Its job will be to read and analyze the person's brain activity, then relay that information wirelessly to a nearby laptop or tablet. The FDA has brought up some safety concerns about the chip in the past, worried that it could potentially overheat or the wires could move around in someone's head. But the FDA changed its tune a few months ago and gave Neuralink the green light after getting interest from thousands of prospective patients who want to be in the trials. So the company is now trying to choose its first patient. Eventually, Neuralink is hoping the device will let people send messages or play games using just their thoughts, maybe even download knowledge. This week, Musk said Neuralink is also developing a chip capable of curing blindness. But first, the company is aiming to help people with neurological disorders like ALS. The plan is to operate on 11 humans next year and more than 22,000 by 2030. Shoppers may notice a morning trip to Walmart will soon get a little calmer. The retail giant says all Walmart stores in the U.S. will have sensory-friendly hours every day from 8 to 10 a.m. The overhead radio will be turned off, the lights will be dimmed where it's possible, all TVs will hold just a still image to make them less stimulating, and so on. The idea is to make it easier for people with autism, ADHD, PTSD, or really just anyone who would prefer a quieter shopping experience. The sensory-friendly hours start this Friday. NASA is taking part in a type of launch it's never done before. It's launching its first on-demand streaming service. Yep, it's called NASA Plus, and it's available starting today. And here's the best part. It's both ad-free and cost-free. So no commercials, no fees. It'll offer all things space, from family-friendly feature stories to its Emmy Award-winning live event coverage to special panels and interviews and even original video series. One series is called Other Worlds, which will focus on the latest news from the James Webb Space Telescope. Another is called Space Out, which will let viewers do just that while hearing relaxing music and watching ultra-high-definition visuals of the cosmos. NASA Plus is available through the new updated NASA app on all major platforms like iOS, Android, Roku, Apple TV, and Fire TV. It's that time of year again. People magazine just named its Sexiest Man Alive for 2023. And this year, the honor goes to Patrick Dempsey, a.k.a. McDreamy. He's had that nickname for nearly 20 years now, ever since Grey's Anatomy first came out. And now it looks like the 57-year-old actor is finally getting his due. Dempsey says he's happy for the ego boost and for a platform to highlight the Dempsey Center, which he founded to provide free quality-of-life care to cancer patients and their families. Plus, this is all getting the word out about a movie he has coming out later this year. It's called Ferrari, and it hits theaters on Christmas Day. That's it for the main news today, so now it's time for Work Wednesday, when we break down one interesting career or work-related news story every Wednesday. But first, support for today's episode comes from AG1. So the reason I've moved away from a daily multivitamin is because I'm now drinking AG1 every day. And AG1 is a foundational nutrition supplement that can replace your multivitamin and probiotic and really support whole body health. AG1 makes me feel like I'm ready to take on the day, that I've done something good for my body first thing in the morning. I drink it before I eat anything. And I've noticed a nice boost in energy too. I also appreciate that it's easy to put my AG1 into a to-go cup and take it with me, whether that's around the house, on a walk, or in the car. And that it's just one simple drinkable habit. 1 scoop of AG1 mixed with water, that's it. Anything that helps me save time and makes me feel good? Yes, please. If you're looking for a simpler, effective investment for your health, try AG1 and get 5 free AG1 travel packs and a free 1-year supply of vitamin D with your first purchase. Go to drinkag1.com/newsworthy. That's drinkag1.com/newsworthy. Check it out. Okay, now back to Work Wednesday. And today we are talking about how Gen Z has changed how a lot of workers across all generations are thinking about work and well-being. This is a pretty new trend, since usually it's the younger generations taking cues from the older workers. For example, now, the career platform Handshake says Gen Z, meaning people born after 1997, has embraced talking openly about salaries. And now workers across generations are using the information to hold their employers accountable. Also, Axios spoke to employees at multiple companies who say until Gen Z entered the workforce, no one really talked about mental health. But now that's all out in the open too, especially if young workers think their mental health is going to impact their work or vice versa. And in general, some people have noted how younger workers are just more likely to talk casually about all sorts of aspects of their personal lives, that they treat their coworkers more like friends. One analysis from Business Insider says these are all changes for the better, that all generations are benefiting from. But a corporate survey earlier this year found 3/4 of bosses find Gen Z to be difficult, though even some managers say that might change as Gen Z gets more work experience. Well, thank you so much for listening today and for spreading the word about the show. We'll be back with another news roundup tomorrow. Until then, have a great day.